to Baltimore to visit with Sider and to see his son Buddy Lansky, who at that time was in the Fifth Clinic.
As he develops further, notice that there are 5 very distinct UFOs along the top of the mountain.
Area 51 has always been a place of mystery and speculation. But what if the truth is even crazier than we thought?
He said, I saw a disc today. And I said, what? He said, I saw a disc.
From a CIA agent's shocking deathbed confession to radio hosts' unbelievable stories, and even the dark secrets behind cattle mutilations near the area, some former employees have shared jaw-dropping confessions. And let's not forget the soldier who claims to have seen it all.
Exactly what's going on up there?
Well, there's several, actually 9 flying saucers, flying discs.
Get ready to hear the biggest confessions from those who worked at one of the most secretive places on Earth.
We had a long period of introduction into meaning, and I call it J-Rod. That's the name that's the name.
The truth behind Area 51, no aliens, just deception. A former Area 51 employee recently came forward with a confession that challenges everything we thought we knew about the infamous military base. Like many others, he preferred to remain anonymous. His face hidden and his voice altered to protect his identity. Having served in one of the armed forces before being assigned to work at Area 51, he spoke of his pride in the opportunity. While his role may not have been glamorous, just being part of the military community in such a secretive location was an honor to him. However, after years of serving at the base, he couldn't ignore the
What do your name mean? You said it's got your name. What does it mean?
The need to reveal the truth weighed heavily on him, driven by his sense of
Hey,
duty and
GG's the
patriotism.
Dadas Hyena Scuba Dadas learn from Scuba Steve.
He proudly proclaimed that he was willing to sacrifice anything for his country's prosperity.
I'm looking 12.
But when it came to the
How
truth
do
about
I
Area
look 12?
51, he had a startling admission.
I feel like I'm looking like I'm 12.
He clarified that he
I
wasn't
don't know.
directly employed by
How's that
Area
possible?
51 itself, but worked for a government entity housed within it. Despite this, he felt deeply connected to the base and had a unique perspective on what really went on behind its high security walls.
Let's see here. Fenced off area, of course. Let's see.
The most shocking revelation, however, was his claim that he never saw any evidence of aliens during his time there. Contrary to the widespread
Nah,
rumors
ain't no
perpetuated by
Drake over
military
here that's
personnel
not
about
angels in the outfit.
extraterrestrial
Ooh.
life, he asserted that the presence
Drake
of
is
aliens
crazy.
was nothing more than a fabrication. Instead of uncovering alien life forms, he witnessed black ops teams spreading hoaxes and fake news. This was, he explained, a deliberate tactic used to distract the public from more sensitive operations being carried out in secret. The former employee ended his confession by emphasizing the risk involved in revealing such sensitive information. Information so classified that it could cost him his life. His story leaves us questioning
GG's the Dadas Hyena Scuba Dadas learn from Scuba Steve was criminated. Y'all, I record with the King X. Don't forget the Kennedy doing his million march right here on YouTube. The dollar because that's self the most highest in the elevator. Who's elevated? God's elevator. God chose you because he knew he could trust you. God's best kept secret. Heard.
Area 51 employee, and that this image was taken inside of Area 51. Due to YouTube restrictions, we can't share the video with you. But what are your thoughts? Let us know in the comments. CIA agent's shocking deathbed confession. A shocking deathbed confession from a 77-year-old former CIA agent and military officer has sent shockwaves through the world. This respected man, whose name remains undisclosed, revealed in an interview with UFO
Yeah, I'm fine.
researcher Dolan
I'm
that
great.
he had witnessed
How you doing?
extraterrestrials and alien spacecraft firsthand at the notorious Area 51. What he shared is not for fame or propaganda. This is his story, one of truth, intrigue, and untold secrets.
You're seeing what you went through was too important.
confession begins with a research mission the agent was assigned to at Area 51 after President Dwight Eisenhower issued a warning about a potential alien invasion. During his time there, he encountered numerous UFOs, including a flying saucer that had crashed
Why
in
is
Roswell, New
my
Mexico
voice?
in 1947.
What?
The
No
agent
Diddy.
described the saucer
What
as
you on,
heavily
the data?
damaged, with most of the
I don't get it. You on the
extraterrestrial
Diddy
occupants
shit.
dead. However, a few remained alive, their appearances unforgettable.
Thanks,
The most
the
shocking
data.
moment came
No
when the
Diddy.
former agent was taken to the secretive S4 facility near Area 51. There, he witnessed live extraterrestrials.
Flying saucers were real.
Yo, how come everybody that works in Area 51,
One of them, he said, was a gray
when they get
alien
older,
resembling a person of
they
East
be
Asian
coming out with
descent,
all
but
this
distinctly
shit?
non-human. This being had an oversized head, a small nose, and ears that seemed more like holes than actual organs. The agent recalled that the creature's skin, shape, and size made it evident it was far from anything human. Further deepening the mystery, the agent reported to President Eisenhower what he had seen. Eisenhower, anxious but
What?
resolute, insisted that the
Oh,
information
shower, that's
remain
different, the
classified.
data. What you know what
According to the
niggas be
agent,
doing, the
before
data?
becoming a CIA operative, he had served in the U.S. Army, and in his view, the official U.S. Air Force Project Blue Book was nothing but a cover-up. Area 51 continues to be a magnetic center for UFO activity, with many other alien crafts allegedly recovered from the
Since you
base.
see that,
The agent was not alone in his experiences. Numerous other employees have also confessed to witnessing aliens at the base. This raises even more questions about what secrets lie hidden within Area 51, suggesting a larger alien conspiracy that remains shrouded in secrecy. The radio call that left us, questioning everything. In 1997, a chilling phone call to radio host Art Bell shook listeners to their core. The call came from a man who claimed to be a former employee of the mysterious Area 51. His confession, filled with urgency and distress, was abruptly cut off in the middle of his revelations, leaving questions that remain unanswered to this day. This man knew something, and they silenced him suddenly for
just
a reason.
like you.
As soon as the call began, it was clear that the man was in a state of extreme
Nah, that's
anxiety.
different,
He
the
spoke
data.
in a shaky voice, breathing heavily, almost as if he knew his words would put him in grave danger. The man
It's
explained
different.
that the aliens hidden at Area 51 were not extraterrestrial beings, but rather extra-dimensional entities. He described how these beings had already infiltrated military establishments, including Area 51 itself. His voice trembled as he went on to warn that these entities had plans far more sinister than anyone could imagine. The most terrifying part of the call was his prediction. These extra-dimensional beings, while not having acted yet, were preparing to invade population centers, making it easier to control the remaining few. He sobbed as he spoke of the
Why would
impending
aliens
disaster,
want to control us?
emphasizing the great
build
danger
shit.
humanity was facing. But just as he was about to explain more, the call was suddenly cut off. Art Bell returned to the air, flustered and unsure of what had just happened. He explained that they
Hey,
were
Izzy,
working on
it's
fixing the
Friday.
issue, but when the show resumed, Bell
Shit,
continued with
Friday
another
must be
call.
knocked out right
One
now.
dismissed the previous confession as pure nonsense. This was not a hoax. The caller was telling the truth.
I did
Someone during
Friday.
the sudden termination of the call had a crucial reason
But I
to
eat.
silence this man. With no concrete evidence to back up the story, it remains one of the most baffling and unsettling moments in the history of radio talk shows. The dark secrets behind cattle mutilations near Area. In a recent highly confidential interview, a former Area 51 employee, whose identity was obscured to protect his anonymity, shared some chilling revelations about the infamous cattle mutilations in the vicinity of the top-secret U.S. military base. His voice was disguised and his face carefully hidden as he spoke of things most would never dare to mention, things that have been shrouded in secrecy for decades. The former employee admitted that while many have speculated about the cause of the mutilations, ranging from UFO sightings to satanic cults, he revealed a much darker truth. The military itself was involved. For years, the public has linked cattle mutilations to alien activity, but the employee insisted this was a misconception. While some mutilations were indeed caused by natural predators, such as coyotes, the larger and more gruesome incidents were the result of military testing. According to the employee, the purpose behind these horrific acts was not extraterrestrial, but rather scientific. Area for its nuclear testing used the cattle to study radioactive contamination. The mutilated animals, often missing organs or bearing strange wounds, were subjected to tests designed to examine the effects of atomic and nuclear weapons. These wounds, sometimes inflicted by lasers, pointed to the military's advanced technologies. Witnesses reported seeing black helicopters hovering near the areas where the mutilated cattle were discovered. What's more disturbing is that these helicopters would take the mutilated animals on board, conduct their experiments in the air, and then drop them back to the ground. This brutal process often resulted in the bones of the cattle being broken or fractured. The employee revealed that the military used random cattle for experiments to avoid suspicion and make the tests seem legitimate. This led to a rise in cancer rates, as animals, and possibly humans, were exposed to dangerous radioactive substances. These revelations only hint at the dark secrets of Area 51, leaving many questions about the true extent of its experiments. Bill Brooks, the soldier who claims to have seen it all. At 66 years old, Bill Brooks, a former soldier who served in the U.S. Army in 1968, has come forward with revelations so mind-boggling that they defy belief. For decades, employees of Area 51 and similar secretive military installations have remained anonymous, but Brooks has chosen to step into the light with shocking confessions about what he witnessed during his time in the service. His stories, though difficult to accept, raise questions about the true nature of government experiments and extraterrestrial encounters. Brooks began his extraordinary tale by recounting a terrifying experience he endured while stationed at a military base. He was approached by a man in black, who Brooks describes as having chiseled blonde hair and wearing a blue patch on his right sleeve. This man, possibly an agent, threatened Brooks with a gun and ordered him to follow him into a blinding light. The last thing he remembered was the agent's command before losing consciousness. When he regained his senses, military agents warned him to keep quiet about what had happened and forced him to sign a non-disclosure agreement. But the horrors didn't end there. Brooks was subjected to a series of mind control experiments at Porton Down, a government military science base. He claimed that he was given LSD and forced to endure bizarre trials, including staring at a black spiral on a white wall while agents shouted at him. These disturbing experiences seemed to blur the line between reality and nightmare. Brooks shared a bizarre childhood memory of encountering tall aliens who took him aboard their spaceship. After leaving the
What
Army,
the heck? That
he
could have
claimed to
been
witness a cow's
LSD.
abduction by aliens and experienced his own abduction while in his truck. These memories resurfaced at age 44 as a memory download. Whether true or not, Brooks' stories provide an unsettling glimpse into a world of secrecy and possible manipulation, raising questions about what lies beyond our understanding. Are these tales mere imagination, or is there a darker truth hidden within them? Well, as we have come across about the various secrets and confessions of Area 51, unlike this, there are still some unsolved mysteries of the universe we still can't solve. Here are some of them to know about. The invisible forces shaping the universe. Few mysteries in science are as compelling as the enigmas of dark
Where's
matter
OG
and dark
Knuckle?
energy.
I don't know
These
the
elusive components of the cosmos make up nearly all of the universe, yet they remain shrouded in mystery.
OG Knucklehead.
While their names are often used interchangeably,
Who's that?
dark matter and dark energy are entirely different phenomena, both captivating and
Nitty
confounding
Knuckle?
scientists in unique ways. Dark matter, often referred to as
You
the
gotta
universe's
come out
missing
nitty.
mass, is made up of matter that cannot be detected with current technology. This includes both baryonic matter, that means the kind composed of normal atoms, and the far more elusive non-baryonic matter, which doesn't interact with physical particles or radiation in conventional ways. Most dark matter is thought to consist of hypothetical particles called WIMPs, or weakly interacting massive particles. These proton-sized particles have incredibly dense masses, but are nearly impossible to detect due to their weak interactions with other matter. Despite its invisibility, dark matter exerts gravitational effects that shape galaxies and their movement. Astoundingly, scientists estimate that dark matter accounts for about 27% of the universe's total mass and energy composition. Dark energy is thought to be an unseen factor that is speeding the universe's expansion. Observations from 1998 revealed that the universe is expanding faster than billions of years ago, defying our understanding of physics. Dark energy, which makes up 68% of the universe, cannot be directly detected but is inferred from its effects on cosmic expansion. Attempts to solve these puzzles continue. In 2017, researchers suggested utilizing superfluid helium to discover dark matter energy signals.
Good
Some theories
morning.
believe dark energy could be the fifth force of nature, while others
Morning,
associate it with
Dada.
Einstein's cosmological constant. Dark matter and dark energy comprise 95% of the universe, leaving only 5% for detectable matter. This insight is both sobering and awe-inspiring, emphasizing how much remains to be
How is
discovered
going,
about the true
Dada?
nature of the cosmos.
Angels in our outfit
The
keeping you
elusive
vibrant,
Oort
Dada.
cloud, home of comets.
Be righteous.
Comets, with their icy brilliance and glowing tails, are some of the most spectacular celestial phenomena visible from Earth. But have you ever stopped to wonder where they come from?
How's your
or
morning
where
going?
They go after
How's
completing
life
their
treating
orbit?
you? How the angels treating you
Despite
this
decades
morning?
of research, the origins of
What
many
you doing up
comets
this morning?
remain one of
What woke you up
astronomy's
this morning?
greatest mysteries. Scientists theorize
How's
that
God?
many comets, particularly those with long-period orbits, originate from a vast hypothetical region called the Oort cloud, named after Dutch astronomer Jan Oort. This theory was developed to explain the incredible number of volatile elements and icy bodies that make up these celestial wanderers. Oort built on earlier theories, proposing that a spherical shell of icy debris surrounds our solar system at its farthest reaches. This debris, remnants of the protoplanetary disk that once surrounded the sun, didn't coalesce into planets, and instead formed the foundation of what we now call the Oort cloud. The sun's distant gravitational pull keeps icy objects in the Oort cloud loosely bound. Occasionally, disturbances like a passing star can nudge these objects closer to the sun, sending them on orbital journeys. Some comets, like Halley's Comet, have shorter orbits, while others, like Hale-Bopp, take thousands of years to complete. The Oort cloud scale is staggering, with its boundary estimated to stretch between 5,000 and 100,000 astronomical units, AU, from the sun, roughly a light year. This vast expanse may contain billions or
1,000
trillions of icy
astronomical
objects,
units.
though its existence remains unproven. NASA describes it
They
as
gotta find
our
out how to
best
go to the
guess
speed of
for
light
explaining the
without
source of
determining
many
the
comets.
body.
Detecting the Oort cloud is nearly impossible. The closest probe, Voyager 1, won't reach its edge for another 300 years and will lose power by 2025, leaving the Oort cloud a tantalizing mystery. Until advanced spacecraft are developed, this frozen frontier at the solar system's edge remains an enigma, quietly shaping the history of comets. Living in the universe's greatest void. Imagine living in one of the emptiest places in the universe, a vast cosmic desert devoid of energy, matter, and even the mysterious dark matter. It might surprise you to learn that our Milky Way
You might as
galaxy
well go
exists
there.
in precisely such a place, the KBC void, the largest known supervoid in the cosmos. This immense expanse, spanning a staggering 2 billion light years, raises profound questions about our place in the universe and what secrets this emptiness might hold. Cosmic voids are regions of sparse matter that arose as a result of the random distribution of matter following the Big Bang. The KBC void, discovered in 2013 by astronomers Ryan Keenan, Amy Varga, and Lennox Cowie, is the largest known supervoid. This huge nothingness begs the question of why our galactic
Why they don't
neighborhood
just
is
catch
so empty,
meteors and
which
make
has
spaceships out of
implications for our
meteors?
understanding of life's rarity. Despite the scarcity of material, the KBC void presents unique prospects for discovery. Its lack of interference aids in the identification of
That's one thing for sure. Oh, y'all seen that? That YouTuber? They trying to take that YouTuber out. Yo, that's like.
Why are you throwing that in the trash?
Excuse me?
Keeping food waste out of the landfill is better.
What's up, fam? This your boy Cut to the Chase TV. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and be sure to share this video. I got some news with Negroes today. YouTube star Corey Pritchard Jr. is wanted by the feds after allegedly kidnapping 2 women and then fleeing the country to Dubai. And the moment the news hit the internet, everybody's acting surprised, everybody's shocked, everybody's saying that he crashed out and threw his career away over 2 women. I'm not one of those people. Now, I'm not saying he's innocent. I'm just saying I don't know the full side of the story. Yes, I read the article. Yes, I read the women's statements. Yes, I reviewed the evidence. But the facts still remain.
Can't kidnap someone that you already with.
From the women perspective. We haven't heard what Corey got to say about all this. Now, I do admit, him big piece of the story is missing. I think they withholding valuable information. Yes, I get what they saying, because the story they telling really don't make sense. So I'm gonna read this article to you guys. We finna break it down, and
It
we're
don't
gonna
make
come to the
sense, Tate.
conclusion about the real reason why Corey allegedly crashed out and took these women hostage. It is shocking. Let's go. Boom. Here's the article. It says a family blogger and online rapper whose YouTube channel amassed over 1 million subscribers is accused of briefly kidnapping a woman in Texas before then relocating outside the U.S. Corey Pritchard Jr., 26, was charged on December 26 with 1 count of aggravated kidnapping. He was accused of taking a woman on a high-speed car ride with a second woman and threatening both of their lives, according to a criminal complaint obtained by Huffington Post. Pritchard on Friday addressed the allegations in a message to his over 600,000 followers on Instagram, writing, "Don't worry, laugh out loud. I'm finna give the details on here and in the court of law." So he issued a statement. Because right now, the feds are alleging that he ran away. But Corey got on Instagram and said, "I'm finna give y'all the details on here and in the court of law." So that shows me that he does plan on making a trip back to the United States of America. Even he knows you can't run forever. So let's continue reading. The incident underpinning the charge allegedly took place on November 23rd in the Houston area, with the 2 women telling police that they planned to ride ATVs with Pritchard and go bowling at night, according to the complaint. But after they arrived at the bowling alley,
But you
the
roll
women thought
FTVs with them all day.
acting suspicious, and they asked him to leave, which he did. So let me get this straight. Corey meets some woman. He invites her out. She invites her friends. They go do a workout. They go ride ATVs. And then they go to the bowling alley. And that's when the women say he changed. He started acting suspicious. He kept walking away. He kept looking over his shoulder. He kept whispering to the homeboys. And the women said he was acting so creepy. That's when they said, "Man, you gotta raise up out of here. You gotta get the hell away from us." And they said he simply left. So let's get that straight. The woman said Corey was acting suspicious. She said him and his homies kept whispering,
Acting suspicious on them.
because they had a feud with somebody at the bowling alley. The woman told them to leave. The men left. All right, let's continue reading. One of the women later messaged Pritchard to say they had left some items in his car, according to the complaint. Pritchard met with the women at a parking lot and offered to give them a ride home, to which they agreed. So, all right, this dude is acting strange at the bowling alley. He's acting so strange that y'all told him to leave. But once y'all found out y'all left some belongings in his car, y'all called him back and met with him. He gave y'all the belongings. He offered y'all a ride home, and y'all both agreed. I'm not trying to play Monday morning quarterback, but ladies, if a dude is acting strange, if a dude scared the hell out of y'all that y'all ordered him to leave, why get in that vehicle? If all that is true, why would you put yourself in danger and ride off into the sunset with Corey after y'all already told him to get the hell away from y'all? That don't really make sense to me. But we gonna continue reading.
Facts.
During the drive, both women noticed Pritchard's behavior was different from earlier in the day. Eventually, Pritchard drove in the opposite direction of the one woman's apartment and ended up on the highway, the complaint said. Pritchard was
And why
allegedly
do-
making phone calls to unknown people as
How
he
do
seemingly
the
increased
public
vehicle
get to
speed
say,
over
"Oh yeah,
100
this is
miles per hour.
false. This
The woman
don't
said
even add
Pritchard
up."
let it go from the
Instead of the
handgun and waved it out
feds
being
to say,
slow.
"Yo, this is false."
So let me get this straight.
They just automatically pick up
It
any
seemed
dumbass
like
case.
Corey probably thought he was being backdoored or set up by the women. Because he drove past her apartment. He's like, "I ain't making that stop. I'm going on the freeway." And he started traveling over 100 miles per hour.
Or
Started making
maybe they just feel like,
phone
"Oh yeah, this
started
person
acting
lying. They gonna
frantic.
get in
He
trouble."
was
Who knows?
legit scared.
Who
He
knows?
pulled out a gun and raised it out the sunroof. So I want to know was he being followed? Did he feel like the woman was setting him up? Because we know this is a backdoor culture. That's the risk you take when you meet up with these women. That's what I don't do. A lot of y'all dudes be all on these dating websites. Y'all be all on Facebook dating. Y'all be all on POF. Y'all be all on tag meeting these strange women. And then when you get around them, your conscience eats up at you.
Dynamitized ISO 100 fast-absorbing protein. Formulated for more.
The 290 horsepower Kia K5 GT. Powerful from every angle.
One woman told Pritchett to take her back to her apartment. She attempted to calm him down by asking him to pray with them as he continued to drive at a high speed, according to the complaint. At one point, Pritchett made a video call to a unknown person whose contact was saved in his phone as future wife. He asked her if he had the perfect opportunity and was driving in the middle of nowhere and no one could hear no screams, should he do it? The person on the phone responded to that. Yes. So wait a minute. He got these two women allegedly hostage. He kidnapped them. He making phone calls to everybody, and then he makes a phone call to a woman, and he says, if I had the opportunity, I'm driving in the middle of nowhere, no one can hear them scream, should I do it? And the female replied, yes, we need to find out who she is. We need to go through the phone history. We need to see who did Corey make a phone call to around that time. Because that's a person who holds the key to all this information. And why would she reply, yes? And my homie called me, hey, I got these two females in the car. No one can hear them scream. I'm in the middle of nowhere. Should I do it? I'm like, nigga, hell no. Nigga, you looking at 100 years. You gonna take the woman back home? Matter of fact, tell me where you at so I can send some help on the way. Because nigga, you sounding crazy. You don't live with five of those yet. That's what I'm not really understanding. That's a very important but valuable piece of information. If it's true. But let's continue. The women feared for their lives, believing they was going to be taken to a remote location to be killed, according to the complaint. Pritchett took the woman's phone after noticing that they had been texting each other, the complaint said. Pritchett allegedly fired 4 to 5 shots out the window and pointed the firearm at the women around this time. He then pulled over on the shoulder of the highway and ordered the women to get out the vehicle, the complaint said. This is your only opportunity, they claimed, Pritchett told him. Wait a minute. So he pulls out the strap, he shoots 4 to 5 times out the window, and then he pointed it at them. He noticed they was texting each other, so he took their cell phones so they won't have communication, and then pulled over on the side of the highway and said, y'all gotta get the hell out of my vehicle. This y'all only chance. The more I read this, the more I listen to this story, it seemed like Corey felt like the woman was trying to backdoor him. I'm the same way. Every time I meet a woman and she texting too much in her phone, she's stepping away to make phone calls, something in my mind that said, man, she might be trying to backdoor me. We see this time after time again. Now, I'm not saying you behave like this. I'm not saying you take it in a high-speed chase, shoot out the window, none of that. But you gotta be careful. You gotta pay attention to these women's behaviors within your presence. You got to. We see that time and time again. Women drop locations. So that's all I'm saying. But it seemed like he felt like the woman was trying to set him up. That's why he pulled over on the side of the highway and dropped him off. I'm not saying it's right, but let's continue reading. When he drove off, the two women flagged down a good Samaritan and called 911, prompting law enforcement to respond. According to the complaint, the woman stated that Pritchett had at one point told them, I'm going to F y'all and then kill y'all. That's a predatory statement. If that's true, he needs to be locked up. Don't ahead come back to the U.S.
Man, you know them girls is lying, man.
That is ridiculous. That's despicable to tell two young ladies that. But let's continue reading. One of the women had screenshots from a location sharing app that police said corroborated.
They made this look heinous, but it's not that. You know they lying.
Pritchett but said he indicated on social media that he was leaving the U.S. to start a new life in Dubai. Now that's what Corey got an answer to. Now he posted on IG, he could tell his side of the story.
Good EGG.
You gotta answer why you fled the country, why you go to Dubai, why you purchased a one-way ticket, what you running for, what you hiding. Because I'm pretty sure when Corey comes out and speaks, he's gonna say this. I felt like I was being backdoored. They knew some people I had beef with. They was communicating with the ops. So I left their ass on the side of the highway because I feared for my life. Now I'm pretty sure he's going to deny putting the strap at him. He's going to deny making a threat to him. Because right now it's he say, she say. Don't nobody got proof of that. Don't nobody got one proof that Corey made a threat. That's all I'm saying. Let's continue reading. Pritchett flew to Qatar on a one-way ticket December 9th, the complaint said, according to ABC affiliate KPRC. Authorities are trying to bring him back to the U.S. Now, my only question is, if this incident happened on November 23rd, and he fled the country November 9th, that's almost 2.5 weeks later. What was taking the police so long to locate him and question him? Because he didn't flee right away. He waited a couple of weeks and then he left for Dubai. That's a very important key information. Let's continue reading. Pritchett has achieved fame on YouTube with lighthearted videos about relationship and family with his now ex-wife, Corbin Pritchett, according to KPRC. She has more than 500 followers on Instagram. The latest video on his family YouTube page was added over a year ago. He has recently seen to focus more on his music career. So yeah, man, I admit, this don't look good to Corey. It looked like he crashed out. It looked like he had a medic episode. You start driving fast. You start making frantic phone calls. You start waving the strap. I know the women were scared. So he got to come up with an explanation on why it happened. That's all I'm saying. But anyway, that's the story. Y'all do with it as y'all want. I know y'all gonna speculate. Is he guilty? Is he innocent? Was the lady trying to set him up? All those are legit questions. And I'm asking the same question, to be honest with you guys. But those are my thoughts on this story. Share this video. Give me a like. Leave a comment as well. And let me know. Do you think Corey's guilty or do you think he's innocent? Share this video. I love you guys. Peace.
People ask the question, how in the wealthiest nation in human history could we possibly...
Warning, this video contains themes of violence, drug use, and gang activity. Every effort has been made to censor...
We've been dreaming about life on Mars for a long time. Not only about growing potatoes there in the future, but also about all the potatoes that could have been there in the past. Has there ever been life on Mars? Recently, scientists have found something that could be evidence of that. Let's find out what happened.
A 4-month-old baby. A 4-month. A 4-month-old baby and his mother in Hartford before running off to Puerto Rico faced a Connecticut judge today.
Lance Morales is charged with the most serious crime under Connecticut law. Your chief investigative reporter Sam Smink was...
And welcome back. Here's Sue live now from Fox. I'm Andrew Kraft. A major update in the Trump hush money payment conviction trial and case here. We're hearing from Judge Juan Merchan today. Meg Kennard, our friend there at the Associated Press, has it that the judge has ordered President-elect Donald Trump to be sentenced on January 10th in the New York hush money case. Well, our colleague at Fox 5 New York, Jessica Formoso, has more.
The island of Pompeii, more than 2,500 miles southwest of Hawaii, completely isolated in the Pacific Ocean. This Micronesian landmass is home to just 34,000 people, mainly farmers and fishermen. But there is one area of the island that is completely uninhabited, the lost city of Nan Madol.
always a good fit.
I know I've got to come back in, and when I take the next step, I'm going to make it count for my career.
The native islanders believe this ancient site is cursed. And it is also home to some of the most mysterious archaeological ruins in the world. Built on a coral reef just off the eastern coast of Pompeii and sprawling more than 200 acres, Nan Madol consists of 92 smaller man-made islands connected by canals. According to historians, this ancient city, often called the Venice of the Pacific, was the capital of the Saudeleur dynasty that ruled from about 500 to 1628 AD.
This ancient city housed the Saudeleurs, the kings of that time. So it has their houses, it has feasting areas, it has tombs. So there's a whole number of areas that each of these islands supported.
Most archaeologists agree that construction of these artificial islands began sometime in the 13th century. Each has been formed with columnar basalt, a black rock that forms when basaltic lava from a volcano cools in the form of columns.
There are a number of columnar basalt outflows across Pompeii itself. And we know of several of these outcrops that were used to mine the basalt. They were then transported to the area of Nan Madol and then placed to create these small islets.
But how did the native people living here 800 years ago manage to build 92 islets out of giant basalt columns? Researchers estimate that each stone log used to construct the megalithic structures weighs between 5 to 50 tons, stacked to form walls as high as 25 feet tall and 17 feet thick. Archaeologists believe that it was an undertaking that most likely would have required all 25,000 island inhabitants to complete.
Around the ruins of Nan Madol are many canals, which researchers and archaeologists say were the routes taken by boats to move these basalt columns across and around the island to construct the huge megalithic site.
Mainstream scholars insist native people built Nan Madol using ropes, rollers, and rafts. But attempts to prove this theory have failed.
So if you add up all of the stone logs, you have a weight of 750,000 or so metric tons. That's a lot. If you were to move maybe 2,000 tons a year, you might be able to get it built over about 3 centuries. We're talking about a major, massive effort here. The kind of effort that you would see in the construction of the pyramids in Egypt.
These people don't know something about architecture that 300 years in, yeah, but nah.
The Sinai Peninsula, Egypt. In the Judeo-Christian Bible, as found in the book of Exodus, Moses receives the 10 Commandments from God after disappearing on Mount Sinai for a period of 40 days and 40 nights. When the prophet returns to his people, his appearance has drastically changed.
It's very interesting. He had been around this country for so long. His face was glowing.
New year, new deals.
were afraid of him because he had changed, his countenance had changed so much.
Basically, his people recognize him, but also see that he has physically changed. And so this is very interesting because if you were to take it from a biblical perspective, you would think that an encounter with God is something nice, something phenomenal, but look at it has physical effects. In the case of the Moses encounter, what you have is something very physical, something very specific, suggestive that what happened to him is a very physical encounter with a deity, an extraterrestrial being, rather than what we would generally classify as divine.
If we look at it from the context of today's alien abduction stories, you know, was God coming down from the sky actually a UFO descending? Was he taken aboard, abducted onto a UFO, and held for 40 days, and then returned? I think, you know, if we look at it in that context, we've got what sounds like a classic abduction.
Could the biblical accounts of Enoch and Moses suggest an extraterrestrial agenda? One where alien beings communicate messages of peace and harmony with humans. Northeast Syria, the Kabur River. According to the Hebrew Bible, it was here, in the 6th century BC, that divine beings descended from heaven and made contact with a 30-year-old Hebrew priest named Ezekiel.
Ezekiel was by the river Chebar, and he said a great whirlwind came toward him. He described it as a fire enfolding itself, and out of the fire was the color of amber, which is the Hebrew word, which means polished spectrum metal, which implies that it's metallic and that it's spinning, and it lands in front of him, right directly in front of him, and suddenly out of this whirlwind come 4 creatures.
In the Bible, the prophet Ezekiel calls these spiritual beings cherubims and describes them as having 4 faces, 4 wings, and skin that shone like polished bronze.
Ezekiel says that he was taken up into the sky and taken to different places where he could see different things. And then he was told some of the future things that were going to come.
But what in fact was the mysterious object that touched down in front of Ezekiel and lifted him up to the sky? And who were the strange beings that emerged and shared a vision of the future with the prophet?
He described them as the likeness of a man, but they seem to have different faces on them of different animals, and some people interpreted that as perhaps even like a spacesuit. You know, imagine the helmet, oxygen mask, that kind of thing. Could he have been actually seeing something that was a face but didn't look like a face normally looks?
He's got the best description of a UFO that's anywhere in the Bible, because he basically says that the thing looked like a wheel within a wheel, kind of a classic flying saucer description.
There's basically the account of a guy who's been abducted, who has been told certain things, and who's then returned to the place of origin. It would be what we today would describe as an abduction account.
Angels. According to a Nielsen survey taken in 2010, nearly 70% of Americans believe in their existence. But what are they? Winged visitors from God as depicted in the Bible? Smiling cherubs who peer down at us from billowing clouds? Or something much, much more?
The concept of angels is obviously very widespread, certainly in American culture, and you find it in Latin culture, Greek culture, Babylonian culture.
When we think of angels, we immediately think to the Bible, But when you go onto the internet, when you read books, you will find that people have visitations of angels every single day.
In the Hebrew Bible's book of Genesis, angels first appear as divine beings, sent to earth as messengers of God.
They wanted to have God interacting with the human beings, but it seems somewhat undignified to have God
Oh shit, I've been saying
directly
that.
operating, and so we sent messengers.
The word angel is a mistranslation. In Hebrew, the word for angel is malach. However, the correct translation is not angel at all, but it is in fact messenger. In Greek, the word angelos is not angel. It is intermediary, middleman. And so what do we have in these stories? We have these intermediaries, these messengers, bringing information from quote-unquote God.
By definition, angels are otherworldly. Angels are extraterrestrial. They're not from this planet. So really, by definition, ETs and angels are the same. Now, our modern conception of ETs have changed, but go back thousands and thousands of years when angels lived among our biblical ancestors. They didn't call them ETs, they called them angels, but they knew they were not of this world, not of this planet.
But could some of these so-called messengers of God have served another function? One not so benevolent or benign. According to the book of Enoch, the so-called lost biblical text that was rediscovered among the Dead Sea Scrolls in the late 1940s, the first angels to arrive on Earth were the fallen angels.
It was on Mount Hermon that angels came down from the heavens, fallen angels, to inhabit Earth. They were trying to assume power, and because of that, they were cast out from heaven and cast down to Earth.
Now, to me, this sounds more of a mutiny story, where extraterrestrials arrived here, and there was a type of rift, and so they split into two different factions. And the faction that split off is what today is referred to as the fallen angels.
Enoch was a believer in angels, fallen angels, visitations, but everything he put in his scriptures seemed to imply, to me, extraterrestrial visitation. From craft that he saw, to mountainsides that they would land, to them taking him around and telling him things.
Both in the book of Enoch and in the Hebrew Bible, the fallen angels act in direct opposition to God's will by interbreeding with humans.
In Genesis 6, it talks about the sons of gods, plural, mating with the daughters of men, and there was a certain evil connotation to it.
How can angels have sex? Enoch describes of it. Some of the extraterrestrials stood on Earth. They had sex with some of our girls. That is what is written down in Enoch. It's not my invention. Enoch never calls them gods. He calls them guardian of the skies or watchman.
610 AD, the ancient city of Mecca. Historical Islamic accounts in the Hadith say that Muhammad, the last great prophet, was sent by God to unite the Arabian Peninsula tribes under a single religion of Islam. Before forming Islam, Muhammad is said to have retreated to a mountain cave, where he received a series of revelations from God.
Muhammad would take a period of time each year to reflect and pray in a cave in the mountains nearby. During one of these retreats, the angel Gabriel came to him and had a prophecy for him and was his guide throughout his ministry.
The angel Gabriel is somebody who is known in the Old Testament. He makes appearances there. He also announces the birth of Jesus and John the Baptist in a Christian context. Now, when it comes to Muhammad, we're seeing that this angel is all of a sudden far more important.
According to Muslim legend, Muhammad formed an intense relationship with Gabriel. During Muhammad's retreats, Gabriel is said to have given the prophet the complete text to the Quran.
In the case of Muhammad, what we're seeing is he stays with him for 23 years. He reveals the Quran to him. And it really, once again, shows you that there are these messengers of the gods, these entities who come to us, human beings, and say, you are chosen. If you're willing to listen to us and work with us, we will actually teach you information about the divine.
Now the angel said to Muhammad, I will take you with me. And they fly over the earth. He sees the whole planet. They circle the earth. And then the angel brings Muhammad back to the cave. They were surrounding the earth very, very quick because it probably took one and a half minute, the whole surrounding around the earth.
Is it possible, as some ancient astronaut theorists believe, that Muhammad was repeatedly taken and seeded with information over time in a series of extraterrestrial abductions? Researchers point to one particular interaction between Gabriel and Muhammad when the prophet flees the holy city of Mecca in the direction of Jerusalem.
The angel Gabriel came to Muhammad with a creature, a winged horse, the Barak, who was able to fly him to Jerusalem some distance. It was called the farthest mosque, and they meditated there for a time. And then after some time of visit there, he went to heaven and was able to visit with the prophets Abraham, Moses, Jesus, and then with Yahweh, Allah, God himself, and get insights and inspiration, then came back from the heavens to Jerusalem and back from Jerusalem to Mecca, completely inspired for his further teachings.
It is said that he goes from Mecca to Jerusalem in a single night. This is a physical impossibility. It simply cannot be. Now, rather than take this allegorically, if we take it literally, we're actually given the tools and the explanation as to why this might have been possible. We're actually told that he did this with the help of the angel Gabriel.
Mount Sodom, Israel. A pillar of rock salt known as Lot's wife overlooks the southwestern part of the Dead Sea, near the presumed location of the biblical cities of Sodom and Gomorrah. In both the Hebrew book of Genesis and the Islamic Quran, angels traveled to the spot to warn Abraham's nephew Lot that God was about to unleash terror upon the world.
And the angel finally says to Lot, if you don't come now with your family, 2 girls and a wife, I cannot help you anymore. It looks as if a countdown was working, which could not be stopped anymore. If even the angel cannot stop it.
Sure enough, they walk away, and there's this mayhem and destruction. His wife turns around, and she turns into a pillar of salt. Since the ancient astronaut theory proposes that angels were nothing else but misinterpreted flesh and blood extraterrestrials, this means that extraterrestrials did side with certain people. Were angels or extraterrestrials interfering with human development?
But if angels save Lot and his family from the wrath of God, is this proof that angels are more than just otherworldly messengers? Might they be more actively engaged in helping their human counterparts, even to the extent that they might still be affecting the outcome of human history? Once again, ancient astronaut theorists look to the Book of Enoch for their answer, and claim to have found evidence in its references to a race of fallen angels known as Watchers.
There's much debate amongst religious scholars about the fallen angels. Some say they were deliberately sent here to watch over man. And in the Book of Enoch specifically, we have 20 watchers which are sort of in charge of all the other angels that are in Enoch's presence. So you have the commanders and the officers and the lieutenants, and those 20 deliberately teach Enoch in various disciplines, such as meteorology, astronomy, how to make better swords. Now, would something like this really happen in the kingdom of God? I think the answer is clear.
Where did they come from? What do they want? And if we're dealing with one or more intelligences, that maybe they have different agendas, but maybe there is something out there that has been an ally to evolving hominids, and we're the latest model.
In the Bible, angels often appear to humans as physical entities that can be seen, heard, and even touched. But today, many people believe angels are present, whether they can see them or not. According to a 2008 survey by Baylor University's Institute for Studies of Religion, 55% of all American adults believe a guardian angel protects them.
The popularity of guardian angels in modern culture, I think, has to do with the idea that we want some kind of supernatural protection in a world where we don't really feel very safe oftentimes.
The Islamic faith teaches that every human being has not one, but two guardian angels, one for each shoulder. These celestial beings are called writing angels because they write down the good deeds and the bad deeds in each person's life. The first so-called guardian angel to appear in Judeo-Christian texts is the angel Raphael, who is featured in the Book of Tobit, written sometime between the 8th and 2nd century BC.
Tobit is off on a very difficult mission. He's going to go to Persia to find a wife. And he runs into all sorts of problems on the way. So God sends the angel Raphael. And now we have the angel not just as a messenger from God, he becomes a guardian angel. He becomes a special protector.
The idea of guardian angel, is it just because we wish it? We believe it, that somebody is protecting us? Or does it come from the past? Has it to do maybe something with extraterrestrials? In the sense that some extraterrestrials said to some human, we protect you. Don't be afraid.
What is the guardian angel guarding us from? Why is that guardian angel protecting us? And is there more than one? Short answer to that is absolutely yes. He's guarding us from what? The fallen angels.
Judeo-Christian and Islamic tradition, there's an idea that there will be some kind of final warfare when God defeats Satan once and for all. That's been interpreted by some people to say that the aliens will come back to fight it out again one final time.
In all, more than 100 pyramids were built in the Egypt of the pharaohs. One of these is a truly unusual edifice, maybe the most mysterious pyramid in the entire country, the Black Pyramid.
There are probably 36 other civilizations hanging out in the Milky Way. There are probably 36 other civilizations hanging out in the Milky Way. And over 170 billion galaxies, give or take, in the observable universe. Conditions for life are all over space. So, where is everybody? Nuclear physicist Enrico Fermi came up with this exact same quote.
Wondrous wizards.
Merlin is the authority, really, the advisor behind the throne.
Mysterious sorcerers.
Their job was really to communicate with the sacred in order to bring about change here on Earth.
And heavenly beings possessed of unimaginable power.
So what had begun as a battle of magic becomes a horrific bloodbath.
Throughout the ancient world, magic was used for everything from healing to communicating with the gods. But did real magic really exist? And if so, could it have come from an otherworldly source?
Certain human beings seem to have somehow mastered the power of the universe to an extent that even we don't understand.
The ancients believed that they learned magic from their gods, and these extraterrestrial gods had taught them these powers.
Millions of people around the world believe we have been visited in the past by extraterrestrial beings. What if it were true? Did ancient aliens really help to shape our history? And will we find proof by exploring the magic of the gods? Las Vegas, Nevada, 2009. Magician Steve Wyrick stuns a circle of 40 onlookers as he appears to make a 3-ton Hummer
Raise the curtain.
vanish in an instant.
Everyone, join hands. All right. There's 40 people around the Hummer. Watch this. Do it. Now.
The continued popularity of illusions like these speaks to a worldwide fascination with magic that can be traced back thousands of years.
We long for some kind of connection to the supernatural, and we can have it for a couple of hours on the price of a ticket by attending a magic show. When we go to the theater and see a stage magician, we know supernatural events are not happening before our eyes, no matter how much it seems like they are. We sometimes think of the people of the ancient world as simple. They lived in a world saturated with magic. There really was no distinction between ordinary life and the supernatural. They were completely embedded in each other, so belief in magic was absolutely universal.
It was a way of looking at the world as an interconnected whole, as well as a technology through which you could make things happen in the everyday material world. Magic offered people an opportunity to influence the outcome of important events, and to know the will of the gods and to communicate directly with those gods.
In the ancient times, it is actually said that magic was of the gods. somehow of the world, somehow beyond the confines of ordinary reality. What we see is that certain human beings seem to have somehow mastered the power of the universe to an extent that even we don't understand.
Magic in the ancient world was primarily viewed as, in some ways, coercive, which is that people are attempting to control the spiritual realm to do something in their daily lives. So whereas modern magic is primarily driven to engage in sort of trickery, in the ancient world there was an attempt to sort of coerce spirits to sort of affect one's life and the direction of one's life, whether that would be one's fate or, in some ways, nature as well.
But did magic really exist in the ancient world? Not as a form of theater, but as a means of replicating the power of the gods. Shanxi Province, China, 7th century AD. The Zhangqiao mountain range. Here, according to Chinese mythology, lived Zhang Lao, a Taoist saint thought to possess unique magical abilities and a profound understanding of the secrets of nature. He was one of what were referred to as
Everybody
the
got
immortals.
superpowers. You just the
So the
autopilot.
immortals are these semi-mythical figures in Chinese history. The majority of them, they're based on people who actually existed, and then certain legends accrued around these people as time passed. The historical
You're
figure of
looking
Zhang
for
Lao
aliens
had
and
lived
you are the
in
alien.
the mid-7th and mid-8th centuries, and he was very renowned for his magical skills, even at the time.
Shang Kuo Lao is possibly the most interesting of the 8 immortals. He is depicted as an old man. He can make himself invisible. He could go without food for days.
According to Chinese mythology, Zhang Lao first emerged at the very beginning of the universe, where he appeared out of chaos in the form of a white bat. He was thought to be a gifted alchemist, necromancer, and sorcerer.
So Zhang Lao is often depicted as riding a magical mule, and what's peculiar is that he is seated facing backwards on this mule. The mule can ride divine winds and also cross thousands of miles in a single day without ever stopping once for rest. When Zhang Lao finds a place that he wants to settle for the night, he actually folds up his mule as one would fold a piece of paper until it is the size that you can fit in your pocket.
And then he would reactivate it by sprinkling water on it, and it would reappear again. So you have to ask yourself, is this white mule actually some kind of incredible alien technology that allowed him to travel around China?
It's entirely possible that what they're describing here is some type of a craft, and that Shang Kuo Lao himself may possibly have been an extraterrestrial. And in order to explain his abilities and technology, our ancestors described him as a magical being.
But is it possible that extraterrestrials have developed a technology in which you have some sort of flying machine that can fold itself into hyperspace? It runs on an advanced energy propulsion source. You can travel with it. It's short, it's compact, and when you're done, you just fold it into hyperspace, and it's something that you hold in your hand. The whole thing just folds up.
Is it possible that Zhang Lao really existed? And if so, could his amazing powers of transformation have been based on an advanced, perhaps extraterrestrial form of transportation? Ancient astronaut theorists believe further clues can be found more than 1,700 miles away in Patna, India. Situated on the southern shores of the Ganges River, this ancient city is believed to be the place where the great spiritual leader, Buddha, embarked on an incredible journey in 483 BC.
Gautama
Buddha was a messenger and sage who was born in what is now Nepal, sometime around 500 to 600 before the Common Era, and he was the original figure in the teachings that became Buddhism.
When the Buddha was born, his father was told by a seer that your son is going to become a great teacher. The Buddha's message, his teaching, is supposed to bring people out of suffering. He made up a religion to solve what he considered as the basic problems of living.
The Buddha traveled around India spreading his teachings. His followers and the monastic community grew increasingly. He was perceived as a human, but an extraordinary human. In the process of gaining enlightenment, he had these realizations that were marked by supernatural powers. He actually projected and built, through pure psychic power, this bejeweled walkway up in the sky. And he paced up and down that walkway filled with jewels for about a week.
According to ancient texts, near the end of his life, Buddha and his many disciples attempted to cross the Ganges, but were blocked by raging floodwaters.
Well, it happened to be the time of the year when the great river is flooded. It's at its high peak. Not only is it very, very wide, almost a mile wide at that time of the year, but it's going very fast, something like 70 miles an hour, virtual rapid.
And he sees people on one side of the Ganges trying to build up these frail rafts, trying to cross the river. And what he does is, in an instant, and the text says that in the time it takes for a strong man to stretch out his bent arm or to bend his outstretched arm, the Buddha appears on the other side of the river.
Now, there was no boat, no form of transportation whatsoever, and people witnessed this. So was this some sort of a miracle? Of course not. So are we talking about teleportation here? Some type of technology that was misinterpreted as a miracle?
Might the incredible feats performed by beings like Buddha and Zhongguo Lao be based on real-life extraterrestrial encounters? And if so, could they have been the inspiration for what we now call magic? Tintagel Island, England, 500 AD. Here, hidden along the rugged Cornwall coastline, is the entrance to a mysterious cave, thought to have housed the great wizard Merlin.
We first see Merlin historically in the writings of Geoffrey of Monmouth. He tells the story of this extraordinary character who most famously shows up during the time period of Arthur. I think that there is this tendency to think of him as the man in the pointed cap and to be a little bit sort of comical or ridiculous, when in fact the real Merlin is a very, very serious and very important character.
According to stories, King Arthur lived around 500 AD, and he was advised by this wise man called Merlin. Merlin is attributed as having all sorts of miraculous powers. He is said to be able to bring lightning down and thunder. He can levitate blocks. He can foresee the future. He can call upon a mist to colour the battlefield.
Merlin seems to have been based on this idea of the Druids. Druids were the sort of religious figures in a lot of this early society. In some cases, we see them associated with the more Celtic warrior groups, where they might function as a king's advisor. Druids appear as very magical and having various other ways that they could interact with the supernatural world for the benefit of the mundane world.
There is a manuscript in the British Library called the Annals Cambrai, which means the Welsh Annals, and in there it refers to a man by the name of Merlin living in a forest somewhere in the north,
And the way it refers to this Merlin is it could very well be the same Merlin